Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Oumaima. Today's video will be in November wrap-up, in which I'll be talking about all the books I have read in the month of November. This video seems to be a little bit too dark because I could not deal with the lighting situation. I decided to film this at night, which is not a good idea. So in this month I finished 6 books. The first book I finished is The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. This book was part of a reading vlog that I was planning on doing, that I started even. But then I just didn't feel like continuing the reading vlog, so I gave up on the idea. This is a thriller about our main character, who is a writer, and she has been dealing with a writing block for the past year, ever since she had fallen out with her best friend Ren. But her and her best friend Ren both get accepted to this prestigious writing retreat hosted by a famous Hungarian author. Her name is Rosa, who has a cult following. She's pretty famous. All her books are bestsellers. This author has a manor in the middle of nowhere. It's pretty secluded, and the only people in this manor are the author, Rosa Valo, and the cook, or maybe the servant. I think her name. I think she is a servant. I don't remember exactly, and the 5 participants, which made this thing very much interesting because we have like a small cast of characters. So anything that happens, you know that one of these people is responsible for what's happening. Once the participants get there, they realize that they have to write 3,000 words every single day. At the end of the retreat, they will all have to have finished their books by that time, and one of them will get a chance to get published by a publishing company, like a good publishing company and stuff. Not only is it stressful because our main character is struggling with this writing block, but she also has her ex-best friend that apparently something happened between them and they no longer like each other. The author Rosa, not the author Julia Bartz, but the author in this book, likes to mess with the characters, the participants, and she's pretty unhinged. Like, she's the definition of this unhinged female character, and she does things to mess with the participants. This book will keep you on the edge of your seats, and it's one of the best thrillers I've ever read in a long time. I realized that I read this book before reading the synopsis, and I realized that the synopsis kind of spoils an event that happens. It basically mentions something that happens in the middle point of the book. I personally did not get it spoiled, so when it happened, I was kind of shocked. So if you pick up this book, do not read the synopsis. Also, I think thriller or mystery, stuff like that, you should never read the synopsis because they usually spoil the book. Also, this book came out this year, and when I filmed my reaction to the 2023 Goodreads Choice Awards, for some reason it wasn't there in the thriller section. If it was there, I would have probably voted. I would 100% have voted for it. It's one of the best thrillers I've ever read in a long time, and I highly recommend this book. The next book I finished is Chlorine by Jade. This was also part of the reading vlog that didn't make it. This is another 2023 release. This one was nominated for the horror category, but I did not vote for it because it was not the best for me. This is a story about an Asian American high school student athlete, swimmer. She's extremely passionate to the point of obsession about swimming, and so she decides to become a mermaid to flee from her human problems. Trigger warning for body horror. This book has so much potential, but it just left me kind of indifferent about it. And I also didn't like the writing style either. The next book I have read is the Nonfiction, The 10 Myths about Isreal by Ilan Pappé. This is a short nonfiction written by a Jewish Israeli author. In this book, he gives explanations and answers to myths that Israel is trying to spread, like Palestine was an empty land. It obviously wasn't. The Jews were people without land. Zionism is Judaism. Zionism is not colonialism, etc., etc. I would recommend this book if you want to know more about the lives of the settlers of Israel, and it's pretty important read, especially at this moment. The next book I have read is another nonfiction. This one is called They Called Me a Lioness by Ahed Tamimi and Dina Takruri. This is memoir about Ahed Tamimi, a Palestinian girl from the West Bank. She became famous when she was 11, I think, when a picture of hers went viral online of her holding her fist to an Israeli soldier. In this book, she documents her life under the occupation, her struggles with the soldiers and friends and family she has lost to the suppressive regime. She recounts her first and only time visiting Jerusalem and the beach because Palestinians from the West Bank can't move there freely. This book talks about the time she got arrested when she was 16 and the human rights violation that Israel has been committing for years against Palestinians, arresting little children and torturing them for no reason. But I think we all saw a glimpse of that a few days ago when Israel released the Palestinian hostages. Ahed was worrying about her English exam the next day when that same night the Israeli soldiers came in the middle of the night and took her away. The fact that they are living in the worst conditions and yet they still care about their education proves the resilience and strength of the Palestinian people. I would also like to read to you the end of this book, like a section of the end of this book, because I think it's pretty powerful. I know I'll see a free Palestine during my lifetime, and I remain full of hope. How could I not? Despite all the ugliness and pain I've endured in my short time alive, I still love life. That fact alone gives me hope. So does witnessing the unwavering steadfastness or sumud of my fellow Palestinian people. I see that steadfastness in the eyes of the young man whose father was martyred when he was a child and who was later imprisoned himself, but who still insists on living in Palestine. I see it in the persistence of every villager who plants a new olive tree immediately after Israeli settlers set fire to the resistant ones. I see it in the smiling faces of the children playing outside with such joy despite growing up in a giant cage. I have hope that those children and their children will have a better life than the one I have lived. Until that day comes, part of me will continue to live in the free Palestine of my imagination, the one where all our burned olive trees are revived, blossoming and bearing fruit once more, where Mustafa and Khalil Rushdie arrive home in the evening to join their families at their dinner table, and where Muhammad Abu Khadr makes it to his Jerusalem mosque safely in time to perform the Fajr prayer, where little Ahmed Dawabshir is reunited with his parents and baby brother, their burnt skin unblemished and immaculate, the four of them laughing and embracing as they stand beneath the radiant light of two glowing suns. After speaking about these books about Palestine, it kind of feels silly to talk about normal books, but there's no other way to segue into this next book. So the next book I finished is Us Against You by Fredrik Backman. This is the sequel to the Bedtime trilogy. I can't talk much about this book as it is the second book. This is set in a hockey town where everyone loves hockey, and one of the star players rapes the daughter of the club presidents, and as a result, the town got divided into people taking sides. And now in the second book, we're following the aftermath of what happened in the town, of the rape victim and her family, and also the people who spoke up about it or those who stayed quiet. Fredrik Backman knows how to pull on your heartstrings and make you feel for these characters. The final book I have read this month is Notes from the Underground by Fyodor Dostoyevsky. This is the only physical copy and the only book I have reread this month. This book is brilliant. I liked it a lot more than I did the second time around. Dostoyevsky manages to capture the image of being human in the 19th century Russia really well. I never know how to review Russian classics because I feel like I don't have the words or the knowledge enough to do that. I'm really glad I reread this book, and I think this one is one of my favorite books, one of my favorite classics right now. So I'm happy I read this one. So these are all of the books I have read this month. Let me know what books you have read and if you have found any favorites. And as always, I'll see you next time in another video. Bye!